Hello, hi. It's your boy. I've been doing things. I've been working on a lot of things. There have been many things I've been working on in the background that my audience has been waiting for, and I don't think they care about this. They've been waiting for things for the main channel. But over here, we're playing Ravenswatch. This is a new game that I discovered a couple of, I don't even fucking know when. I want to say maybe a few days ago? It's in my mentions, watching through, and I've played enough of the game to Nightmare 9 that I am now confident that I will do this. And I am going to show you, teach you, the basics, the mechanics that will actually, what I should do. Let's go one down, Nightmare 8, because this will take 3 minutes off the timer. And I'm going to show you how to be able to play the game with the currently 6 characters that are unlockable, or rather not even unlockable, that are immediately available for you to use. Each of them have different kits and different mechanics to them that make them strong and weak in their own ways. You will unlock, I believe, these 3 as you play through with the top 3. And as far as the game goes, it is, if you are one of the people who are paying attention to games like Tribes of Midgard, it is one of those kinds of games. A procedurally generated roguelike world, but in this game, it's the God Slayer aesthetic. You are building up characters to be able to kill what is effectively called a Nightmare Shadow. It is actually easier if I let the game explain. Dreamloud Reverie, home of living tales and legends, falling apart, unsuitable sources tainted lands, and poison the minds of its inhabitants, Nightmare has begun. Ravens, protectors of reverie, now call for fallen legends to propel their spreading corruption. Together they form the Ravenswatch. Master Nightmare invades each chapter, but starts to sleep. For now, the game only has 1 chapter, so there's only 1 Master Nightmare. The game requires time for the Master Nightmare to awaken, showing the gauge down on the bottom of the screen as a timer during the awakening process. Once it awakens, it has to be fought and defeated. You can play multiplayer or play single player. Every character has to use a single character, but inside of solo play, you only control 1 character at a time. You start out at what's called the Sandman, who is effectively the merchant of the game. When you leave the safe zone, the timer starts, and when the timer starts, that begins the day and night cycle. Certain particular characters have a particular way that they mechanically function during day and night. Currently, right now, I believe the only ones that actually matter terminally on the day-night cycle is Scarlet and Snow Queen. Scarlet technically has double the skills, but the skills are different or have different mechanics based on the form that she's in. Whereas for the Snow Queen, her active skills either apply direct damage or have a persistency effect for the nighttime frost, which then combos better with her abilities based on the kit that you get in that run. During the map, you're going to have points of interest that will be pointed out to you. The Master Nightmare and the Sandman will always be revealed at the beginning of the... Well, that's probably not true. Maybe it is true. At least I haven't been noticing it because I'm not always looking at the Master Nightmare. The Sandman will always be revealed at the beginning of the game. I believe the Master Nightmare should also be revealed as well. But then, as you roam around the map, you will randomly find healing fountains, teleporters, and different events. You have yourself chests, grimoires, wishing wells, vision towers, a side quest of where there will always be one somewhere on the map, whether it be a side quest for hay, or it be a side quest for stone, and multiple dream crystals, a small type that will reward 4 of this dream fragment, I think they're called. One that will reward a medium amount, and then large dream crystal amounts that will be surrounded by large and medium sizes and small sizes, as well as an optional boss elite event, which may be either 1, locked behind an altar, or B, locked in a cave. The key itself also needing to be found somewhere on the map. As you play through the game, you will get levels up to 5, where you then get your ultimate. Each level, including level 1 when you load in, you will have the option between, I can best describe it as, I think on most characters that have them, It's a random choice until the forced starting choice always of a stacking buff quest or a stacking attack or an alternative form of damage skill. You have to choose an upgrade and continue forward. And whatever you choose for your build, you cannot change it at the end. So you have to have in mind and keep in mind generally what you would want to do on that run based on what you get. You only have them revealed to you once you level, so you have to choose wisely and think wisely. Each character has different builds and different spells and different traits that they can take, but ultimately, they all work fine, just some have higher damage scales than others. What matters more is survival, not just damage output. You could say damage output is survival, but none of that really matters. Baseline shit works, use baseline shit, then play from there, decide how you want to play. There is no peak optimum strategy, there is no do this every single time you win. I saw those guides. Those guides are fucking horrible. So, base level. You go around the map, you get events. Mostly, you look for chests, grimoires, the wishing mill if you can find it, vision towers, and dream crystals. If you find a side quest, and you keep in mind where it is, and you have enough time at the end, and you weren't able to find some kind of elite event, you would do the side quest, and try to find all of its materials quickly, because the faster that you finish the quest by finding the materials, the sooner you can trigger the final defense phase of the mission, because they're always defense missions, and get the reward that comes from it. You're going to be trying to build up as much as you can. Vitality, damage, and armor. In some kits, depending on how the character functions, either as a trait quest for their skills, or as an upgrade they get down the line, you might get an effect that gives one of these four things. A shield, regeneration, ignite and bleed, or chill. There's also debuffs, usually being applied to the player character from the enemy. I think only one character really has it as a baseline to apply it to all enemies. For weaken, and trapped is a general effect. There are other situations that matter here. This glossary is not good enough. There are things in this game that are not in the glossary that aren't explained. You have to learn as you play. And of course, progression. So, with all that said, I'm going to put it on random. And we're just going to start from here. I choose random because at this point I should have a general mastery of all the characters in the game, and should be able to go from there. Also remember that locks restrict access to special events and challenges, and that you will always need a key to find them and to open them, by the way. Mentally, it's hard to remember that while it's happening, but that's how it works. So, on the last difficulty before difficulty 9, you will have, at maximum, 2 Raven's Feathers. The game actually starts you out with 4 of them, but takes them away as you start climbing difficulty. These things are revives. In multiplayer, you and the allies that you're with will be able to do this. There's a maximum of 4, so people working in teams of 2, or maybe like one person who's really strong on their particular character, and then other 3 people can go around doing group events and gather resources and dream fragments to everybody. Your stats are listed next to your health pool, as well as your experience, and when you level up, you will always get the choice of options. Now, for Scarlet, there is her human mission and the werewolf mission. For the human mission, you have a lot easier time stacking it because you can hit multiple targets at a time. For the werewolf mission, it is going to be much harder. This is generally what you're going to get as it open up every single time. Now, the skills and what they start with, that's always going to be random. Sometimes you can get an epic, sometimes you can get a rare, sometimes you get a common. I think the baseline might always predetermine itself to being common. But here you get a choice between a buff quest or an immediate fixture that makes your skill better and stronger for distant explosion. It shows you what the command actually applies it to and how it is meant to be used. So, attack or power, left click or right click, triggered during human defense, earns crit chance with 1% per enemy hit, and then eventually, after you get all this, that will stack to 25%, and then give a completion bonus of a flat static crit damage 20% across all abilities and attacks on the character. This works in both of her forms. Alternatively, you have Distant Explosion. That happens to be, if I can click off of it. No, it won't let me kick off of it. I already clicked into it. There needs to be a function for you to go back and forth with this. But
get used to this.
Basic skills. This is a general chain combo that stacks up to 3 on the base combo meter. That then gets out dumped with the right click. The more you have in the combo meter, the higher this damage goes. The special is a bomb that is used for AoE effects. If you stay inside the ring of it until you get a particular upgrade, that now makes you immune to it and makes it explode faster. It will stun you, but it will also generally stagger and damage enemies in its area. If we had taken distant explosions, we could have been able to throw it at a further distance away from us, and it would have done 60% more damage. And then, of course, there is the stealth, where you will stealth for a time. This will make you intangible and will actually help you set up for your damage, or, in this case, for the buff quest, it is what we must do. We must go into stealth and then hit someone with either the right click or the left click. I suggest using the right click. You can go through multiple enemies, you'll get it done faster, and because her mechanic is tied to time, if you can't do it within the day and night cycle, it'll take that much longer to get stacked. Inside of the Sandman, you have your upgrades. You can only have a baseline of, I think I got up to, I want to say 6. Don't quote me on that for now. Baseline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess something for the ultimate. Well, the rest of these will be unlocked as the game has more chapters. For now, I believe it's just these 5 to 6 slots. And then, of course, every consumable. They are subject to change depending on your luck of what you get in your seed. There is damage. Gingerbread Man, which is a 100% heal. This is for if you just are terrified that you're going to die, and you need to heal immediately before something happens, either before a boss battle or being pulled into the Master Nightmare. The Magic Mirror, which is a copy of common, rare, or epic magical objects that you own, which will appear as passive buffs on the left side of the screen, over here. Whetstone for critical attacks, and Adamant for armor. There's also buffs that are an increase to crit, which will give you a baseline of additional crit chance. This basically, for this character in this run, means that we could have up to 50% damage. It can actually go much higher than this. So next level is 20. If we get 25 in this, that would be 50, and it scales, it levels. But within this ring of protection, you can basically get a feel for what your character does. There are some characters that are much better than others. I think Scarlet is probably the best beginner's tool. And with how to do, let's begin the run. Now, the best piece of advice that I could possibly be able to give you is do not fight trash mobs. Trash mobs are pretty much anything that is not tied to a particular event in the area. You'll know where there is this event because an event will be marked on the map. The reason why you don't take trash mob fights is because you have a limited amount of time upon which you can fight in. And once that timer is up, you will be pulled into the Master Nightmare.
Watch out! That's gonna blow.
The other reason why you don't want to take trash mob fights is that because of the way that the enemy works, there is a leashing system. As a perfect example of why you don't take those fights. Or rather, why you don't take fights in an area where you don't have the crowd control to be able to deal with them. You want to conserve your Raven's Feathers as much as you can. Yes, we got Scarlet again. Yes, you can use them as free revives to like, oopsie doopsie, I fucked up, and not fuck up again, but you want to try to save them for the boss. They become crucial. Now, we get different spells this time. We got the same spells, but now they're different ranks. They're both common. So we can, again, either take Distance Explosions, or we can take the buff quest. I'm going to take the buff quest.
Not bad.
And in here, you'll see that these have changed. Now, we have Whetstone and the 4-leaf closer. We still have the magic mirror, have the armor, have the gingerbread man, have the golden apple. I believe the gingerbread man will always be in the shop, no matter what, but the other 5 are always subject to change. These are basically pickups that you take when you have this fragment cost to pay them. That, oh, you couldn't find a wishing well? Well, you can just spend it on upgrading these.
This will be a
You can also use your money to upgrade your skills. And the reason why is because if you find a grimoire event and you choose to forego dream fragments because you don't have a wishing well, you can use them to upgrade the spells and then take the choice to level up your baseline abilities, which will then put them on a higher tier of skill, thus giving them greater effectiveness in their combat or defense ability. The general game flow is you're going to be moving around from event to event, trying to find other events to make yourself as powerful as you can. Events will be random between whether they will be common, epic, or rare, I think. I don't think there are, quote, legendary events, and that if there are, that's the bosses. But over here, we have ourselves our sights to know. So, we're going to take this fight very, very slowly. The reason we're taking it slowly is because we don't want to fuck up, like we did already. Notice I'm taking it slowly also because I'm trying to line them up to get the extra damage. That's the downside of getting hit with drone bomb. And just like that, finish the event. Take this, move on. Now we have a grimoire revealed over here. We have a chest down here. We're going to use the teleporters to backtrack when necessary. We're also going to try and upgrade our spell while we're on the move. About to run out of daylight. Now we can have the choice between having power or getting additional attacks. We're going to take the opportunity for crit. If you ever miss what one of your skills say or read, you can always check on them in the shop. Now we have shifted to Scarlet's second form, which is our werewolf. The werewolf has innate lifesteal, so he can actually easily take something like this. Because all I want was the money. Another piece of advice is whenever you are dealing with events and situations, you're always going to find events on higher elevation. So the best thing to do is always try to look for those changes in elevation. We got Scarlet again.
Finally.
And use that. Ooh, now we have both opportunities. So now we can take either werewolf quest or we can take the human quest. Always use that elevation to try and find the event and then try to fight around the enemies if you can. A lot of characters don't usually have their multi-skill attack spells until later. Scarlet is one of those ones where her human form can easily deal with groups of enemies as long as she lines them up properly, but without having the immediate bomb upgrade that makes her bomb instantaneous, it's actually very dangerous to fight a lot of mobs, unless you're able to get really, really lucky with stacking shadow strikes. Now, between these, one gives crit, the other gives power. The power will help because in the werewolf form, when you bite something, you actually heal when you use it with the defense ability. This is one of the things that I also hate about how they chose to frame this. You don't actually get to see or read what her alternate form skills are, so you have to learn what they do by trial and error. Between these two, I prefer Shadow Strikes. It's easier to stack. When prioritizing, yes, I was right, so you can't see it. So, what I would suggest doing, whenever you are in situations like this, is, 1, don't get discouraged from dying. You will die. It's normal. It's gonna happen. Whenever you see your events, try and prioritize them in a way that will best help you. Try to use your fountains as a way to heal between events that you're going to and situations that you're leaving. So for example, we have ourselves a fountain event here.
Watch out! That's gonna blow.
We're going to use this fountain event to set ourselves up for Ravenswatch after we come down. Start stacking my combo with. I saw his money crystal over to the side there. Preferably what you want to do is you want to try and go up the elevation, figure out how all the enemies are placed, and try to get rid of as many enemies at once as you can. For your own sanity, it will be helpful. Because certain enemy types will fucking own you. Kind of like how I'm getting owned right now. These knife guys are the bane of your existence, no matter what character you're playing. They charge and run at you, they're very, very fucking annoying, and they are a goddamn blight to fight. Did not mean to click that. Already losing my health again, mainly because I'm talking rather than explaining. Probably going to be another death, yeah. So, like, on the higher difficulties, this will get really annoying really fast if you're not really thinking and paying attention. So the best way to really do this is to prepare yourself for what's going to happen, and really give yourself an understanding of what the enemies do, how they do combat, and how you're going to react to them in combat. So, from here, I'm going to try and get serious on this one. Hopefully it's not Scarlet again. It's not. It's Pied Piper.
This place is new.
Mentally, keep a note of what it is you're going to go for. Money is going to be important for the wishing well, and vision will give you the attentiveness to see what other things are. The first well is going to require 100, then the second well use is going to require 150, and the third well use is going to require 200. So you're going to need to stack your money before you go here, because it's really a cash in, cash out kind of situation. I preferably would like to cash them all out at once. Sound barrier. Yes. Let's take the sound barrier, shall we? Pied Piper is a bit different. He has to stand and use his spells. But, depending on... Oh no, he has another one that actually does. Depending on the day and night cycle, he will actually get the use of Pierce on his spells during the night, and then during the day they'll have kind of a shotgunning effect on his power.
Heed my call, one and all.
As you can see, night and day difference when I focus on actually playing the game versus just talking.
I need healing, quickly.
Do not be discouraged and don't get surprised if you get owned by certain enemies. Some enemy types are just fucking annoying and will be the bane of your existence at certain particular points of the game. It is what it is. However, with the Pied Piper, it is much easier for him to start kiting once he's actually able to die, please. Once he's able to actually get online. Now, because it is the night cycle, we have the ability to immediately start doing things. We take a level up here. Now we get another choice. I'm going to take this to give my defensive skill an attack value, so now it does damage. We're going to run past these enemies, and I'm going to try to kite them in such a way where I can start killing them as I walk. Did not get the timing on that. So now that it's nighttime, these attacks have Pierce, and I have a Descendo effect on my spell. Or now when I do my right click, it actually has multiple bullets that will pierce at once, rather than just the tri-directional shotgun. Now, the reason why I say you need to skip the mobs isn't because you want to ignore the mobs because they're not useful. It's because events can't be interacted with if there are enemies in the area, and you will want to break line of sight with enemies so that you can be able to interact with the target. But if you can attempt to leash them up to close around their maximum distance, to where you would be able to start dealing with them. Where's my rats? They're over there. To where you'll be able to start dealing with them as you're fighting them. There is also a dash mechanic. More on that when we get a particular magical object upgrade. If we get it. Some runs you can get it, some runs you don't. But it's very important on a lot of characters that have very low damage volumes. Especially this one. We're taking Voodoo because it was the only thing good there, because the other ones required me getting hit, and this character has very big issues having damage and having health. Running down to the money.
I, for one, didn't
Guiding them towards the event. Now, when it comes to the money events, you don't actually need to fight the enemies. You can just take the money and run. Certain times in certain places, it actually will behoove you to kill the enemy. Mainly because if you kill the enemy, you'll get a level up, and you'll have a level up while you're like mid-health. You'll be able to take an event with higher health. I'm just gonna duck and run. Another reason you want to try and duck and run from things is that you're going to try and move around the area circumference. Yes, the circumference, the perimeter. That was the word I was thinking of. The perimeter of the area to try and force leashes. Now here we have the Grimoire event. This event is timed. You have about 55 seconds in order to kill everything.
heed my call, one and all.
So I have 20 seconds left. Wonderful. So now you have the choice between Dream Shards, Experience, or upgrading a random 2 times. I'm going to upgrade the random, and as you can see there, it upgraded the traits. If I wanted to min-max this, I would have gone back to spend money to upgrade them slightly to get the abilities to a higher level. Alternatively, I could have also taken the money to give myself the opportunity to get them leveled up further, because they do max out at Legendary, and there is a particular magical object event that if you take it, you will get plus 20 damage if your spells are Legendary, per each one in each slot.
A complete aria with no false notes.
Doing some very important kiting here.
That is what I call pitch.
Do this, reveals a money event, revealed an elite, and revealed a tumor. Yep. Almost left the fragment behind. A lot of money to leave on the ground. And we run out of 8 from these. Seems that the shrine is in the corner, so we're going to kite around to try and break line of sight with those enemies. Haven't quite finished our stack mission yet. Gotta level up in the middle of this. Nighttime again. Now the Pierce is on. Wonderful. Now we can either have hit the enemy with defense, and then our next power has a longer wave of notes, or that our notes do more damage if they are further away. I'm going to take extra measure because it's actually much more useful than the other one. I am not a fan of the full kite method with this character. Just taking what is better for my playstyle. Ironically enough, even though this character is intended to be a kiter, he is much better when he kites up close and moves around in and out of the area of effect, rather than being right on top of enemies. That is a horrible enemy type to see there.
Heed my call, one and all.
And already, you can see the reason why I said that these types of enemies are the bane of your existence. They literally just run you out of a circle and make it harder for you to kite everything. Between these and the healers, these are probably some of the most problematic enemies, especially of this enemy type. Now these are, I'm not even sure how to describe them, nightmare enemies from the Master Nightmare. There are different types of like races that exist to the particular enemy types of the map. These happen to be some of the ones that are the most irritating in general. Not only because they do a lot of damage, but they also are very tanky. They do not go down easy. We clear them out. Now we claim the chest. We will take, more than likely, our power.
The hairs on my neck are astir.
We'll walk through these enemies haphazardly. So ultimately, while you're moving about, this is a boss event, but we already knew this was here. When you're moving about, you're really looking for anything that has a change in elevation, up or down, or anything that is barricaded off with destructible tiles. That will always denote an area where something can be found. And in this case, we happen to find a random key. Lovely.
Now there you are. I've been looking for that.
Now, for the time being, I'm going to keep moving, because now that I know where that event is, I can always go to it. I'm trying to find as many things as I can in the time allotted.
Heed my call, one and all.
Now that my stack quest is done, every time I do my special attack, I'm gaining armor.
It would be a shame to die today.
This helps while I'm taking down enemies of this type, because they are very annoying.
I'm about to meet the celestial course.
Another one of the enemies that you hate. These ones hook. They're very annoying when they hook, because you need to hit your defensive skill in order to dodge their attack, or you will take heavy damage. And a character like the Piper, they're a fucking nightmare. And get stabbed by the peg enemy. Whenever you use Raven Feather in solo, I would say start over, because preferably you're trying to aim to not die as much as possible. That pretty much is the general gist that I can give you. There is no, here's the only single technical matter you need to follow, the only advice that you need that will ever do anything at all. There is no advice that I can give you like that. Much like any game, it's modular. You'll learn and experience as you go. Beowulf, another beginner-friendly character. Same as before, move for the area. With him,
Come to me, Raven. It's time to earn your keep.
he's actually much easier for this reason alone. He has a full block immunity spell. So that when enemies hit you, you will be able to negate all damage and beat the shit out of them. Probably a character I could have done any kind of explainer with, but I didn't want to give people the appearance that they should start with a crutch character. These haunted kind of characters, if they look like they have clots and welts like that, it means that they're exploders. You can use them to kill other enemies. But Beowulf, he has toggle spells. His trait spell, you see there with the picture of the dragon on it, is his worm. When you use it on any of his normal abilities other than his defense, it will give the ignite properties. When you use it with his defense skill, it'll actually give you the ability to heal based on what you block.
Return to
Wonderful. Damage for vitality, power, negative 10 plus 10 damage for things you have. We're going to go for Ogre Blood, because he does well with vitality. Orm special finisher, strikes 3 times with a growing radius for E. That's not. After each trait activation, the next 3 attacks have 100% crit and attack damage. This will make our attacks come out faster.
Come to me, Drakeling. It's time to
Start
earn
baiting attacks here. Much better. Beowulf is a character who can bait enemies to attack you, and rather than getting gangbanged as you do with most other enemy types, you can be able to generally hold your ground. Do the same thing with the pigs. Nice. Unfortunately, the walls do eat your attacks, so be careful. Now we take health from missing armor. Further incentivized well with our ability to stay alive. Still looking hard for events. There is indeed an event here.
Come to me, greatling. It's time to earn your keep.
And everybody there just got fucked. Good old Beowulf.
The gods are watching out for us.
Now we can make the special attack go another round, or we can have the power to give a shockwave at the end that does additional damage. Wonderful. Immediately go into the cave. The cave is certainly the easiest and fastest of these. The reward is actually at the end. Just run through these enemies here, and there will be a special enemy at the end. Fortunately, the attack AI of the enemy fine guy that time. The attack AI of the enemy, as I was about to say, is actually very easy to bait. When you're up close on top of him like this, he was going to try and bite you, then he will try to run away. Missed it that time.
Come to me, greatling. It's time to earn your keep.
Okay, a little bit focused here. As you can see here, this is the reason why Beowulf is indeed probably the best beginner-friendly character. And now, we collect the reward. Positive armor turned into damage. Healing fully at the beginning of the day and the night, or getting magical objects with a % additional enchantment effect. I want to do fun, so I'm going to change all of my armor into attack. I'm not sure if that will actually undo anything. And I'm going to make these two attack me. And as you can see, we do a lot of damage now.
Made good on our promise.
I'll keep moving. So I believe the way that this curse actually works is that now, as my value goes up and down in my health value, I actually gain attack over gaining armor. First interaction. But keep moving here. Further elevation means event. And it is the Ravenswatch, so these guys need to die.
It's time to learn your keep.
Now that we have a lot of damage to work with, we're actually better able to make use of our special effect for a knight. Works really well to beat the shit out of all those enemies there. Keep moving. Now we have ourselves a health event in the corner. We're going to use that to top ourselves off and keep moving.
Let us sharpen our blades.
Enemies about.
We fear no monsters.
Wonderful. Keep moving. Looking about, trying to see if I can find any other event that's particularly here. The land does not actually denote anything to me, so I'm going to cross the bridge. Another elite event. You have a chest here. Just kiting around the enemies. Pull them in such a way that I'm able to hit all of them at once. Those ones leash down there, so not big of an issue. Pull all the enemies and make them appear, stack them up in an area. Use the ignite effect to proliferate the damage. I could have tanked that, but I didn't want to. This one I will tank. Easy. 5 vitality for magical objects, or reduce power. We'll reduce the power cooldown. Wonderful interaction. Double shock sends successful shock waves, but it'll start doing less damage overall, or we increase the ignite effects and make it last, which then allows for more combo ability with the burning effect. Let's see here, that was the interaction I was talking about earlier. Even though I know that that is over there, I'm going to run from it because I, 1, don't have a key to interact with it, and 2, want to keep moving the map. Luckily no enemies around, so we can just take that one for free. Normally I wouldn't take the small crystals, but since they're right there, just snag them and keep going. Change of elevation. And we have ourselves a crystal event. We hit the nightmare enemy. I can say for certain that with Beowulf, these enemies are a lot less dangerous. Keep moving. And now we have ourselves a normal Grimoire event. Now with this, we will go back to the Sandman, and now I'll do the thing that I was talking about. Because we have money, we want to upgrade these. To at least here. This one. Because the next upgrade will make them legendary, right? So we go back to the book event. We will use the revive here and continue the run all the way through if we die. Because we've gotten enough power now that it would justify a revive. 50 seconds. Accidental tap.
Come to me, Dracely. It's time to earn your keep.
These small mobs can be the bane of these existence for these events. But now, take the upgrade, and as you see over here, all of those became legendary, and that one odd one on the end became master. That is how you want to best use, quote-unquote, the optimal strat for this.
Rough way to travel, but it beats rowing.
Continue moving through here, because I want to go to that well to heal. Well is up here. Lucky for us, no enemies around. Break line of sight with the other enemies, don't immediately take it.
From the gods.
Now, if you really wanted to, you could walk all the way to the Master Nightmare, stand on top of it, and channel the sigil in order to immediately be in the fight, if you believe that you are strong enough to start doing it right then and there. I, for one, do not want to do that. We have ourselves here a legendary chest. Wonderful. Deal 30% damage
This will come in handy.
will be better. I'm really hoping that we can be able to find the magical artifact that will give me the extra damage with legendary, honestly. So that'd be really nice.
Our foes have all been vanquished.
Legendary Grimoire event.
Come to me, Dracely. Time to earn your keep.
Finish the event with plenty of time. Open the Grimoire. We can gain dreams, we can gain upgrades, or we can dream shards. I would rather gain shards. Immediately go back to the Freedom Catcher, because all of our base traits are almost fully upgraded. I will use this directly to upgrade Legendary Manual, and then I will get Crit Chance. That will help with Crit Chance across the other spells. The other one will definitely be the no-brainer to take the crit damage upgrade.
These are wicked adversaries.
The boss is about to be awake once that timer hits 24. Still moving through, looking for events. We find another one. This one is a Dream Watcher. Nice. Lucky you. We do have a well event. It's not going to matter because I already spent the majority of the money. Path on through to the health. One of the things I really think they need to do so that this stops being a particularly useful strat is they need to make the enemies start dropping money. Maybe get a trait or a passive buff effect that will actually increase the amount of money you gain based on an enemy combo chain. You know, the little things. Now, we could fight the tumors. Because I think that well is the only last thing left other than the event, I will do that to show off what these look like. When you do these, you're going to be taking maximum health off of the boss fight at the end, thus making it easier for you. They look scary, but these events are actually some of the easiest ones to do. Whenever you're dealing with these types of enemies, you always want to take out their healer, so they cannot be able to heal the attackers, because they can actually heal every type of enemy, not just one. And as you can see there, that's the danger of having the healers be able to buff and heal the attackers. And I think for this is just the two snakes. Nope. Snakes in this guy. Immediately kill those guys.
Do you smell anything?
Not a lot of time left. I'm not sure if... No, I won't be able to kill that tumor. We can try. What I'll actually do with the rest remaining of my time is I'll start grinding these guys for health.
Come to me, greatling. It's time to earn your keep.
The most optimal thing I technically should do is try to look for just a little bit more money. Not to go to the wishing well, but to buy the crit upgrade in the shop.
These monsters bear a different scent.
Just a few more. Not gonna find it. Nope, not gonna find it in time. Now as it drags you into the boss room, the screen will get progressively brighter and brighter and brighter until exactly the 24-minute mark, and it will pull you in. Then you will spawn into the boss arena. It's actually a lot harder to explain this while moving and fighting, because there's so many things happening at once. So I will actually forego not doing that. Got a damage there. Unfortunate. I should have him this cycle though. As long as I don't die. And he is dead. Alright. So, the endgame boss. The boss is a centralized tumor. At least this boss is a centralized tumor in the center of the arena. As the enemy is attacking you, he will have 4, and I think they respawn, tentacles that will slam as they are approached, that need to be stunned before they can be staggered, then killed, to then open up the boss to a heavy damage phase. During that phase, his neutral passive defense comes down, and you can be able to wail on him. If you did well enough on the map, as you collect all of your passive traits and skills, you will eventually have an easier or harder time to try to dump a burst and sustained damage rotation on him. Some characters can be able to fight him as the other tentacles are slamming. For Beowulf, it is actually easy for him to do this fight because he can passively heal off of the thorn explosion attack that he kept doing there. He can also be able to heal off of the pillars because admittedly they will have life on them, but not every character will probably have access to the health globes because they are both 1, random, and 2, there is an effect that you can take that will turn off your orb healing effect in favor of in-hand lifesteal, as well as some characters having some innate defense, shielding, or health scaling abilities to assist them with dealing with the enemy. You take down all the tentacles, then the core will be exposed, you deal as much damage as you can, and the phase will continue again. The Thorn attack is his AoE Thorn Nova. You need to kite it and dodge through it. You can use your defense ability if it has enough iframes to be able to be safe from it. If it doesn't have enough iframes, you have to be able to kite through the middle of the needles. Preferably, you want to do this on a side where you've already killed the tentacle, because if you try to dodge it by running straight through and you don't have fast enough move speed or movement abilities to get through, you will get hit by the tentacle slam. And you do not want to get comboed by his other spell, which is his lightning strikes. They are fast, intermittent, they layer on top of each other, and they can kill you very quickly. This is where the majority of your health wants to be used. This is where the majority of your revives want to be used. And that is a normal run. At the end of the run, you will be given your victory or your defeat breakdown. How many feathers you used, how much damage you dealt, and how much damage you took. As you can see here, beefy. You then get a rundown of your score total, your playtime total, your level reached, the difficulty, and the additional bonuses. There is a bonus for multiplayer. There is a level bonus for being at max level. There is a bonus for the difficulty you're on. And then, of course, the bonus for the amount of activities, that's the events that you did on the map, calculating infinitely upwards, I would suppose. There's a finite number on the map, but if you're able to get the maximum amount, you would get a higher value than this. You then get all your points statted up, just like any other progression rate, and then you unlock more upgrades for your abilities to do what they do. I'm not one to say that there is a better or worse version than some of these, but what I can tell you is that some magical objects and some upgrades, depending on what upgrades you get offered for that run, are definitely better than others. But because you can't control where you get them from or how to get them, it is much more important that you just get them unlocked by continuing to play more and more. The more time you practice, the more time you focus on the character, the better for you. In this run, we got Blazing Runes, so attack and special would now have a 50% increased crit chance against ignited enemies, which basically means along with that spell that we had for Trait Master, that gave us 100% crit chance on the next 3 attacks after using a trait, we would have that along with then having that crit chance elongated versus those enemies that we ignited. So our special, the spin, and our attack would crit against those burning enemies. And the worm power leaves a trail of fire, that is our right click. That will deal 40% dot over time to enemies that stand on it. Funnily enough, I thought this was something that the skill did passively, but it doesn't. And that effectively is the loop of Ravenswatch. Probably a bit more autistic in explanation than others, but hey, it is what it is. And of course, whenever you finish with a character, you can indeed view the magical objects and the traits that you have available to them. It'll actually show you the ones that you unlock. These are generally the average ones. So for example, Fairy Dust, Voodoo Doll, Red Tears, Ogre Blood, Eternal Rose, Goldilocks Porridge, Little Thumb Pebbles, and Green Thatcher are very common ones that you can see. There's actually a very easy way for you to associate with how common these generally are, and that is to take the Aladdin character and use him to actually view how common these are. And the reason why is because Aladdin has a passive ability that allows him to use a lamp that can generate passive traits. This lamp usage is actually limited and is actually gated by his ultimate level.
Like a thief in the night.
So for example, you can have a chance to get commons and to get curses. Here, I would actually take Black Lotus if I wanted to play out this run. You take Black Lotus to give yourself lifesteal. I'm really hoping that the particular card that I'm looking for comes up. And here, because Aladdin is a character that is all about offense and defense by healing and shielding, because I took his trait quest here, you would probably want to take anything that will increase his damage for his power and for his special, like that Jack of Diamond card. Alternatively, if he gets on low health, you can give him regeneration. And if you're feeling zesty, you can go damage on full health. I don't. I play very bitch. I play very conservative. I'm cerebral. So I'd probably go for critical health if I wanted to live, or Jack of Diamond if I wanted to do damage, and I was able to get more damage on him.
Easy work for a professional.
And damn, we didn't get it. Let's see here. If you wanted to do more damage with his spin, that'd be optimal, because this is how his character works. He gains power with hitting enemies with the spin of his sword. Alternatively, Voodoo Doll is too big to ignore. It really is. 30% additional damage to bosses is not a fucking joke. This is, of course, not only against the Master Nightmare, but against other enemy types as well. Anything that is typed as a boss, this works against. And then, of course, there is Eternal Rose, which is plus 10 damage to enemies for each negative status effect they have. If you can create status effects on your character and get this, it works. With Aladdin, his only base status effect is actually flipping over their heads and exposing and making them vulnerable. I'll take the duel here.
One for the collection.
If you want to be able to associate yourself with the particular passives and skills that the character has available to them, this would be the way to do it.
We are unstoppable together.
Go in here.
my eye.
I see damage. Let's make a copy. So that copied my other heal ability. And I'll actually play this run to demonstrate how Aladdin works. When you're very lazy like I am, you start using the enemies to explode the other enemies. Alright, I move through. He is probably the beginner's... I would say he's the intermediate between expert character to use. He's very evasive. He's very much about being evasive. Let's get that Dancing Blade to have that effect go up sooner, because that Spinning Blade effect is very, very powerful for him. As you can see, there's a bar underneath my health that basically dictates want to do something. I missed that. His power is very hard to aim. It can be very hard to punch people in the face. Unironically. Keep moving through. Something I will do to these enemies is I will actually pull the blade to myself and catch it. Try and make use of the spells while I'm on the way. Because Aladdin's particular trait quest is very important for his survivability.
An exploit worthy of a prince.
Keep moving down the downslope. I know that this is over here, but I'm going to try to do a ring around the map. Feel like a buzzsaw. See an enemy. See the chest.
That is a clean
Toot, toot,
sweep.
toot. 4 more of those to go. Didn't get that time. I did a little bit too late or a little bit too early. One of the two. Got it that time. No benefit to killing these enemies. Keep moving through. Doesn't look like there's anything important down there in the corner. Keep moving through. It takes a little bit of getting used to the boundaries of the map to know where what is what, but there are certain texture features of the map that make it easier to discern what is or isn't a thing to interact with. And now the trait quest is done. So the next time I do that, I will actually get shielding for doing that. See right there? You just do this, you get that shielding, you jump in, and you start fucking people up with Aladdin. Now I take this maximum health. Change elevation, go this way. That takes us towards the boss. I'm not interested, but I am going to path over here because I know this ramp is here. Got ourselves an elite in this corner. Go that backwards so I can stack the passive. Take the money, keep moving. Same thing here. Stack the passive as I move. Come across the tumor. Revealing tumors is not bad because if we find a side event, it will actually reveal something else that we haven't discovered on the map. See a bridge. The bridge takes us to his chest. Walk around the area to reveal all the mobs. Send the flip in. Did not get the shielding, unfortunately. Got it that time. Again, very hard to control that power. The way that it works is it's actually a charge attack. As in, you literally have to charge it. If you're able to get it fully charged, you can use that to be able to punch people in the face. This is actually extremely good. Because now I get crit chance every time I get hit, and because I can actually mitigate that damage somewhat and heal off of it, I can use it to get free hits. Just for like little incidental hits. The reason why you don't want to fight trash mobs like this is that they usually amount to nothing. I just did this to demonstrate the healing effect of that synergy. Air dash. Get additional attack speed, or while you're not using enchantment, generate enchantment passively. I'd like to do that so I no longer have to really throw my weapon around if I don't need to. Still collecting money. I'm collecting the money so that I can go do the shrine event. I say shrine. Mentally I'm thinking wishing well. Passively walking through. Putting it on the wrong side. Bring it to the enemy. So I get the stationary enemy. I'm hoping this chest contains, or that the Wishing Well gives me, the particular effect I'm looking for. Please, 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 please. Yes, Vajra. This dash ability is very important on melee characters and on well, honestly, every character. It's very important. Very, very important. Reduce the special. And then we go for the last. Please show me legendary. Clear dash cooldown whenever you use power special defense. Special gets increased damage, or power gets increased damage, but then gets increased cooldown. We'll actually take 7 weak boots here, because this now means that we can be able to make use of that Vajra effect at any time. So we dash, use a power, then dash, use this, dash again, use defense, dash, and just spam the utter fuck out of that dash skill for damage. That is literally the bread and butter of Aladdin, at least. It is so good for Aladdin, it is so good for Scarlet, it is so good for Beowulf, it is not fucking funny. Every character can make use of the dash mechanic in different ways, but they are probably some of the most great users of it. The way you can just one-tap some enemies with it is not to be ignored. Wonderful. Another increase there, but I will not take it. I will actually take damage for vitality that I have. Pretty solid run for fucking 12 minutes. All of this really being enabled by Aladdin's ability to just say, fuck you, I can make passive show up whenever I want. Making full use of that passive ability of his. We'll teleport here to move about, because we need to find other places on the map. I want to find keys.
I'm coming, Doctor. I've just got a few things to do first.
I do not want to take this event. That event is fine. The side quest. The side quest is fine. The problem with it is that it takes so a long time to figure out and to memorize where the particular spawns for its materials are. And in the time that you could have done it, you could have gone and done any other event.
An exploit worthy of a prince.
Wonderful. Air dash, or hit all enemies around for 50% of power's damage. I will actually take Cyclonic Appearance. It sounds like it's good, but honestly, I don't feel a much better difference between the attack speed for Aladdin's damage, and I didn't see anything else get highlighted here, and all I saw was that event in the corner, so we will go immediately towards that stone event. We're literally going to take the money and run. Because being in an Ent hollow and not having a lot of movement choices to get out of that hollow is fucking death, and I don't want it. Sometimes some mobs packs just require you to spam me on them. Take the risks. Reduce cash cooldown would be nice. Power and having increased damage would be nice. But let's reduce the dash cooldown, since we're using the dash as a form of damage. We're also going to go back to the Sandman before we go down and over to that Grimoire event, because I don't think we're gonna have enough time to figure out whatever the fuck's over here.
Almost as thrilling as a ride on my magic carpet.
Do this, this. We'll try to get these legendary before we go to the boss.
I can feel it.
Mentally stopping myself to make sure I'm recording. And I am. Here, event locked. Oof. Wonderful.
Not a creature in sight.
Actually, didn't realize there was a healer here. I actually will not succeed at this, because I didn't realize that there was a healer. No. If I had been able to succeed that, I would have gotten it before the boss, but it's okay. You're gonna fuck up sometimes. Now the real question is, can I do this? As mentioned, that's the best way you want to dodge that one. Dash through, attack, dodge, immediately get the fuck clear. Lucky. That was a mistake. Let's not sit on my leg, Carl. And the man is dead. Another run down. I know. If I had to describe it, what would be the reasons why I like this game? If you have a completely destroyed Frine ADHD brain, it allows you the opportunity to just lose yourself in the immersion of learning these particular setups, techniques, strategies, designs, styles, and the game loop itself. Besides that, the sheer fact that a lot of your skill to win will come from your ability to outplay. Almost similar damage last time, but that was because I took a lot longer on the boss. Because the majority of your skill and uptime is going to not come necessarily from, say, leveling, for example. Your ultimate, when characters like Aladdin, they don't matter. Like, it's negligible. Because his upgrade is actually, he gets charges for his lamp. And yes, you can use wishes on the lamp to actually do damage, but that's then finited by your soul use and your dream shard generation. And that will be like a min-max. Do you or don't you spend for the power-up? Do you or don't you spend for healing? Do you or don't you spend for damage? And because Aladdin has built-in healing and can get access to healing, he doesn't need the healing portion of his traits. He can just freely get 3 passive traits at the start for free. That's what I used it for. I'm not sure if anybody else uses it for that. And the AoE damage is not necessary because he kites everything. But I would say just on that, learning each character, it's something to do. It's something to learn. It's something to have fun with. Oh yeah, spinning strikes. Next attack. Hit 2 times, twice with enchantment, and do 80% damage. And acrobatics, each enemy that you cross during defense gains you enchantment points. That's really nice. But yeah, it's a fun game. You should buy it. It's on Steam. I'll have the store page linked in the description below. Good luck, get good, have fun. Well, I don't know what else you want me to tell. I don't know what you want to tell. What you want from me? What you want from me? Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.